right? Your outcome should have some characteristics. What are those characteristics? They are on your screen. First two are your learning outcome should be student focused. It should focus on the students, what a student or what a learner will gain, not what teacher will be able to deliver, right? And next is aligned to higher level learning outcome or learning level, you can say. So as I said, if your outcome contains two parts, number one, designing a problem, and number two, solving that problem, right? So your outcome should be aligning with this higher one, not the lower one. That is what this characteristic says. It also says that your learning outcome statement must be a SMART statement. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Please note these things. These are the characteristics. You have to, when you are rectifying your outcomes, you have to check whether your outcome fits in these characteristics or not. If it is not fixing in that characteristics, you have to focus, or you have to attain that error very specifically, right? I hope you have noted this 5 and the other 2 characteristics. Let us discuss all these parameters: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. What do I mean, or what does the specific term mean? It means that your learning outcome should be clearly stated about what exactly the student will learn or do. It must focus on a single well-defined skill, concept, or competency. But it should not be on vague or a broad intention, right? For example, you can use very precise action-oriented verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. You can focus on one key aspect of learning, either knowledge or skill or attitude, and you should avoid ambiguity or the general phrases, right? For example, one can say, after the completion of my course, student will be able to analyze the cause of, you can say, climate change using some real-world database, right? But if I say student will be able to understand the concept of climate change, that is very vague, right? And by understanding, you will not be able to see whether he has really understand or not, because understanding climate change includes various aspects. It includes pollution, it includes sustainability, it includes recycling, right? Particularly which aspect we are talking, that is not given here. That is why we also say understand is not a measurable word. You cannot measure whether he has understood or not. Some assessment may be focusing on the pollution aspect, or some may be assessing on the resolving the pollution aspect or something like that, right? So that is why, in general, understand word is not a measurable verb, and hence we should avoid those kind of verbs which gives you an ambiguity, which keeps the target very open, right? Next is measurable. What does a course outcome to be measurable mean? Measurable means the learning outcome should be written so that the achievement or the learning can be observed or assessed through various tools such as tests or assignments or projects or performance tasks or something. It should be assigned, it should be assessed, it should be observed. The learning should be visible, right? And it should be measured up to what extent the learning has gone. How we can do this? So when you wish to make your outcome measurable, what you can do is you can choose the verbs and criteria that can be quantified or that can be demonstrating. You can define your clear performance in indicators. Performance indicators should be clearly mentioned. And you should ensure that your assessment tools are aligned directly with your outcomes, right? For example, if you are assessing some project, right? So my students should be able to solve a problem in a societal environment, right? So that is a kind of project. You are assessing the project related skills, right? But you cannot have a question and open-end questionnaire there. You must have feedbacks, or you must have a rubric, or you must have some other way. The ideal way of giving a question paper and taking answers will not be able to give you the justified impact of assessment, right? So depending on your outcome or depending on your action work, you must select, you must ensure that your outcome is measurable. You can easily measure the learnings. You should avoid the abstract or emotional or internal outcomes that cannot be measured. We should avoid the statements that do not specify what success look like, right? Next is achievable. What do you mean by a learning outcome is achievable? So when I say that an outcome statement is achievable, it means that it should be attainable within the given learning period. That means it can be available, it can be, or after the completion of course. We generally write that after the completion of course, that is our achievable target. And when I'm writing that after completion of this course, my student will be able to perform differentiation. That means I have to include all the aspects of differentiation in this course. If some are missed, my student is not able to use those missed concepts and perform his task. So my outcome statements is not achievable, right? So depending on the content, depending on the ability of student, you have to see whether the statement is seriously achievable after the completion of your course or not. It should also consider the resources available, right? Second is it must be suitable to the student's current level of knowledge and skill. So if your student is from the first and second standard, right, you cannot say he or she should be able to fractionize the polynomials. He cannot fractionate that because he's not at that level, right? What should be taken care when you are writing an achievable outcome? So you should match the outcome to the level of the program or course. You should ensure that the required tools or time and period prior learnings are available. For example, when I'm talking about differentiation, I must have some multiplication or derivative or something concepts priorly. So those should be attained or not, that should be kept in consideration. You should also design the outcomes that are challenging, but not impossible, right? So for a student of first standard, right, division of complex polynomial is not possible. That should not be included in your outcomes, right? I hope this is clear to you what an achievable outcome means. Is it okay? Okay, thank you. Next is realistic. What does an outcome to be realistic mean? It says that the outcome statement must be relevant, realistic or relevant. R stands for any of this, you can say either realistic or relevant. So it must be relevant to the program objective, the purpose of the course, and the learner's professional or societal needs. The outcome statement should also connect the theory to the practice and add values to the future applications. How it can be achieved, what you should be kept in mind. So you should align your program outcomes and your graduate attributes. These program outcomes and graduate attributes are almost similar, right? We will discuss it if time permits us. What other things you should keep in mind is You should reflect practical or employable skills, and you should relate your outcome with the real world context or the professional standards that are expected in your learners, right? What you should avoid? You should avoid out of context with the course content or learner background, going out of the content, and you should not be focused only on memorization, right? Without giving any practical use. These two things are highly avoided. Once you avoid those things, your outcomes directly becomes realistic and relevant. Right? Next is your outcome should be time bound. What do you mean by time bound? Outcome must specify when or by end of what time frame the learning will occur. कितने समय के बाद मेरे बच्चे में ये जो चीजें मैंने लिखी है आउटकम स्टेटमेंट में वो दिखेगी, राइट? So it should be time mentioning outcome. That is why at the beginning of the list of outcome we write after the completion of the course, learner will be able to, right? So this statement is very much necessary when you are writing learning outcome, right? But, however, you write all 3 or 4 outcomes one after another as a list, but the common statement should be that after completion of the course. Okay. Just this way. So these are the characteristics of the outcomes that we have discussed in detail. I hope this is clear. The next is an exercise once again. I'll give you one by one 4 or 5 outcomes once again, outcome statements. You have to examine or you have to check if all those statements are smart enough or not. You have to check all the 5 aspects. Okay. Are you guys ready? Thank you for your response. Thank you so much. The following statement has all the 5 aspects or not. Develop a digital marketing. So obviously the common statement is there. Let us assume that the common statement is there. After completion of this course, learners will be able to, right? So time wala jo concept wo hai wo hum dekh lete hain. The will be able to develop a digital marketing strategy for a consumer brand using case-based analysis and industry benchmarks, achieving at least 70% score in the practical evaluation. This is the first one which we have used in the previous exercise. See, let me give you all the 4. 5, there are 5. Just complete this one. I'll be with you in a minute. Just so you have 5 statements, 5 outcome statements on your screen. The task is to check whether these statements are having the characteristics of being smart. I hope you remember all the 5 things. Smart. What is smart? What is smart? Anyone?
Specific. It is specific.
So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic.
Very good. Thank you so much. So you just go through all the 5 statements have your own logic, whether they are smart or not. Just write it down somewhere, which one is not smart, and we will talk about why they are not smart, right? Let us go quickly. Can anyone please let me know which of these 5 statements are not smart?
We
Deepak
understand
shared with.
statement 3, 2, 3, and 4 are not smart.
2, 3, and 4 are not smart. Very good. Why?
Because understand is not measurable, appreciate,
Right.
and be familiar. So these are not very specific and measurable terms.
Very good. Any other aspect missing? Not
Sir,
measurable.
may I?
But what about specific? Are they specific or not?
Sir, may I?
Yes, Kaustubh, sir.
Hello.
Please. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
please.
So the biggest thing is I think none of these are smart because none of them are time bound.
Okay, so that is what I said. There is a common statement which is not written here.
That
But
is
a
a common
is
statement.
there.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
So rest assured that all those are time bound.
Okay. That's it. That's it.
So exactly, the madam who gave the answer was correct. These 3 are not smart because they are not measurable. You cannot measure understanding, you cannot measure appreciation, and you cannot measure how familiar he or she is. Right? Major issue is being measurable. But are they having other aspects? They are time bound, obviously. But what about them being realistic? Importance of effective communication. Is this realistic?
Yes.
Yes. Right? What about being achievable?
The 2, 3, 4, since they cannot be measured, whether they will be achievable or not.
Exactly. So measurable has a very strong connection with being achievable, right? Very good. So main focus should be on being measurable. Obviously, if it is measurable, other aspects can be considered to be happening, right? However, we are not going to be in that detail for our course outcomes, but this is what I want you to people. This is what I wanted to give you, because if I am supposed to give you something, I should give you 100%. So this is how a course outcome should be checked for being smart. I request you that when you are rectifying your outcomes, you should go with this process. Just first check whether the required components are given or not, and second, check whether they are smart or not. Okay. I hope you people are now ready to rectify your courses. Are you sure? Confident?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let us see next.
I have a doubt.
To correct. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this appreciate the importance of effective communication. So if in an
Yes.
organization there is effective communication, and it helps in smooth flow of work. So the communication is good. Is that can be able to analyze whether the outcome has been achieved or not? The work is
What
smoothly
tool
done.
will be used to check that, ma'am? Is there any standard tool to check
No,
whether
there
the
is no standard.
communication is good or not?
Okay, got it. Standard tool is not there. Okay, sir.
Let us go next. The next question is how to correct this statements. How to we have found the error, right? They are not smart. How to make them smart? How to make the error correction? So there is one single way possible. You may remove the error part, the problematic part, or you may reframe. Let us see how we can reframe this. The first one, understand organization culture through classroom discussion and real life case. The target is whether my student is able to deal with the organizational culture or not. Right? and depending on the classroom discussion or real life case studies or not. So how I can reframe this? I can use explain. What I want is my students should be able to explain the organizational culture by analyzing real life case studies and contributing to classroom discussions with at least 70% accuracy. Right? So my objective as a teacher is not changed here. My objective was my students should be able to discuss about organizational culture. But when writing course outcome, it is very much necessary, it is very much crucial, the way of writing. Right? How can we check for the second one? How can we correct the second one? Appreciate the importance of effective communication. The target is, or the objective is to check whether my student can be explaining, or he or she can demonstrate. I want to say that he communicates effectively, right? So that should be demonstrated. वो दिखना चाहिए मुझे मेरे बच्चे में. So demonstrate effective communication skills. Subject is not changed if you see. During group activities and presentations. Now context is not changed, but I have added the success criteria by achieving a minimum peer evaluation score of 3.5 out of 5. Right? So the error problematic part is now eliminated. The error is eliminated. I have reframed my course outcome. Is this clear?
Sir, I have a query.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, in the present scenario, we know that the strength of the learners is very less in almost all the colleges all over India. Now, in spite of faculty members taking tremendous efforts to, improve communication skills by using different types of tools and techniques, the children are not even able to understand the question, even if you give it in a very simple manner, in a simple wording. Then is it possible that we can achieve this objective? Because the question is very simple, that do you understand so and so thing, and I'll just explain a legal term asked, what do you understand by bailment?
Madam, that is a concern of a subject teacher. If he or she has set the target, he or she must explore the proper technique for that. He or she must give full efforts for that. Otherwise, he or she can reduce their expectation. This is not part of being smart. This is part of writing setting the expectation, ma'am. So it is out of the reach of my expertise, right? It depends totally on the subject teacher. You are saying very correct that communication skills of students are very weak. I agree. But that is how one teacher should be designing his or her course outcomes, right? So I cannot comment on.
Thank
Are you from the communication background, ma'am?
No, sir, I am from the background of law.
Law, yeah, law. Law students are, my God, communication is very much needed for them, and they are very poor in that. We also have a faculty of law, and I experienced this as well. So, all the best, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the last one. Be familiar with microeconomic indicators using online economic dashboard. So it can be corrected in this way. My objective was my students be able to interpret. So clearly writing interpretation, right? Interpretation is the target, simply. Is this clear? Shall we go further?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me quickly give you the last points. So these are the points you should take while drafting your outcomes or while reframing your outcomes. Your outcome statement should be, or it must be, having necessary components, possibly all the four components. It should be smart. It should be student-centric. It should be aligned with the higher learning outcomes. Begin with the action verb. Only one verb. This is very much important. You cannot have two verbs for a particular task. Look, many times my participants give me that I have written one statement as will be able to design problems. Will be able to design problem and utilize Euler's method to solve those problems. So these two are two different outcomes which are merged for together. Here, the subjects are different. When I say you should use only one verb, that means you should use only one verb for a particular one subject in the course outcome. If you have two subjects separately, you can use two separate verbs for them. That is fine. But for a single subject, you must have a single verb. Okay? Matches with the targeted domain of learning mentions only the highest level of learning in the taxonomies, not all. That is what I said. My students will be able to design and solve. So instead of both those, you have to take the higher one, that is solving. Is the key. These are the points you should keep in mind. Nowadays, let me give you one idea. Nowadays, ChatGPT helps you a lot. There are several other AI tools as well now. They help you a lot in designing your outcomes.